Hey besties, and welcome back to another interview on the Plobcast. As always, this is your reminder that this podcast is 18 plus. It is not for little ears. Monday, I will have a regular episode out. Don't worry, we have plenty of Plob stories to come on Monday. Follower submissions, video recordings, audio recordings. There was so much happened over the last couple weeks, but unfortunately, I had not gotten to get to do a Monday episode because of all of the traveling. But I did get this interview done. I did not know I was going to be having surgery the day that I scheduled this interview, so I will admit this interview is a little off. There's a lot of pausing compared to what it normally is. There wasn't a lot of prep work that went into it. There was stuff I was discovering as we were interviewing. My brain was just not fully there, but I had already scheduled it for that day. So I got done with surgery, and then a few hours later had to do this interview. So I do apologize for all the extra pausing and my brain just not being here for this. But I still wanted to get it done because, as we've talked about before, we have gone over plobs and problematic people within fandom spaces and within different spaces in general. And I like to give people who are normal people within those spaces an opportunity to talk about those spaces, to debunk things. We talked about the furry fandom. There are problematic furries, problematic plobs in furry fandom. So then we did an interview with a regular furry. And just like I did the interview with Andrew, if you don't know, was John Doe. He ended up coming forward and stuff later and ended up becoming comfortable with releasing his identity later. You can actually go look at his page if you want. But where he talked about his experience with Lily Tino, and we've talked about the problematic behavior that Lily Tino has and does, and so I wanted to give a regular trans woman the opportunity to talk and have a platform for a moment to talk about how the rest of the community is not like that. I promise the rest of the community is not, and not every trans woman is gonna attack you for accidentally misgendering them or something. They're also not all going around and going in and taking pictures in bathrooms and stuff. That is just Lily Tino being a rage baiter and being a problem. We talk about that. We also talk about predator behavior in general and how, I know I'm like a broken record with this one about how pedophiles should just be put down. But we also talk about how there is some issues within the system where there are 16-year-olds who are now getting registered as registered sex offenders because they took a selfie of themselves, which they shouldn't be taking nude selfies. That's on the parents for not watching their kids, but unfortunately it does happen, and then these kids are getting put on the registry. But then we've got situations like in Oregon where there are registered sex offenders who are actual pedophiles, and after 10 years they can get off the registry list, which should not be allowed. It should be a lifelong thing for people like that. And meanwhile, like I said, you've got 15 and 16-year-old little girls who are getting pressured by their boyfriends to take a nude picture, and then they're on the registry for taking a picture of themselves. The system is just so broken, and we go over that in this podcast too. Like I said, the pedophiles out there should just be put down like animals. They should not be allowed off after just 10 years, depending on the state they're in. But let's hop right into the interview. Like I said, I had surgery earlier this week, so I'm sorry that this is a mess. I will have that. The regular Plobcast episode will be out on Monday. Let's jump right into that interview. I'm just going to go ahead and add it like I usually do, and we'll jump right in. And remember your username. That way, if anybody wants to look you up.
Hi guys, I am Thalia. I go by Thaila Rose on TikTok if you want to follow.
And I'll have your information in the bio too, to make it easier for people, because sometimes hearing it and then actually spelling it out just to make sure it's easy.
Right.
Once again, YouTube takes 15 extra minutes to process, so it'll be everywhere, except for YouTube takes an extra 15 minutes once it's up.
Okay.
So today we're talking with Thailia about their experience in gaming and being a trans woman, because we've discussed, just like I did with the furry fandom, we've discussed plobs in the fandom, but we also want to make sure people understand that there is a good side. Not everybody in these different spaces are like plobs. There are plenty of amazing people in them. If you want to share whatever you're comfortable with sharing, your experience with being a trans woman within the gaming space, if that's affected you in any way, because I know women in general, the gaming space can be a unique experience, because unfortunately we still do have the people that think that if you're a woman you can't game. Unfortunately we've talked about those before. Has that ever affected you in the gaming space, being a woman in gaming space?
I've had some interesting experiences being a trans woman in gaming. There's times where I'll come to a game or a lobby and, my character is obviously a female, So they think I'm gonna sound like a female when I get on the voice chat, and then I don't, and then they're like surprised. Some people are just kind of rude about it, calling me a dude. It I people that are okay with it and joke with me, ask me questions, but I've had people that will just be straight rude to me, and honestly, it don't matter either way it goes because I'm there to play a game. I'm not there to care what your opinion is.
Exactly. And I see that a lot just in gaming space in general too. I actually have a friend who's a trans woman and she can make her deep, like, she has a very high pitched voice, but she can still make it go really deep. And sometimes she'll mess
Right.
with people if they're being rude to her. She'll just like drop her voice down and be like, well, fine, I'll be with your mother then. Like,
Oh,
it's hilarious. I love watching the interactions. I do apologize about my cough. I just got back from Orlando and I am allergic to like half the state of Florida. Um,
oh boy.
Halloween Horror Nights was great, but like the allergies that come with it is not so much.
I
Uh,
can imagine.
yeah, I'm allergic to pine. I love all the Christmas stuff, but I cannot, like, I love the decor, but I cannot have actual like trees and stuff because allergic. And I grew up in West Virginia to make it worse. Fun fact
Oh,
about allergies: if you don't know this, if you have really bad allergies and you're around them constantly, and you go somewhere that doesn't have your allergies, it can change your taste buds.
huh.
A lot of
That's
people
it.
don't know that. Yeah. I learned that the hard way because when I moved out of state, I was like, wait, things taste different. And it's because I wasn't constantly exposed to my allergens.
Right.
What kind of, what, we mentioned gaming, but, what kind of gaming do you do? Do you do like online, console?
I play on Switch. Usually, when I play on Switch, I kind of go between like Fortnite, Dreamlight Valley. Anyone that's listening, Dreamlight Valley is a great game to play. I would recommend it if you love Disney games and you love Disney characters. It is a great game. I love it. I play like Dead by Daylight. When I play on the PlayStation, I'll play like Skyrim, Oblivion, Call of Duty. Just kind of depends on my like uh, taste, I guess. I play Little Nightmares. I'm waiting actually for the third Little Nightmares movie to come out or game to come out. It's already came out, but I'm waiting to get it. I'm excited for that game. So it just kind of depends on how I feel about what I'm wanting to play.
I love Skyrim. I will warn people though, if you've never played Skyrim VR and you love Skyrim, just a heads up, you might want some motion sickness pills.
Oh
Um,
no.
Skyrim VR was the first VR I'd ever played. I played on the PS4. I was working at GameStop at the time, so we got discounts and stuff. And oh my gosh, like trying Skyrim VR was like a whole new experience, and it can be fun. It looks really fun online, but actually doing it, the motion sickness is very real in that game for VR. Because I know VR is getting really big and people are wanting to try it. Skyrim's probably not a good place to try, even if you love Skyrim. Definitely recommend like easing your way into VR because then I've talked about I will never join like VR chat though because that's a whole nother level of crazy. They have like a version of How to Catch a Predator on that app for a reason. Um, but Skyrim is an amazing game. I love it. I've played it for years. We're not going to talk about how many hours I have on that game,
I
but
have a lot.
I do warn people the VR experience because people are like, "Oh, this sounds so amazing! I love Skyrim. Let's do VR." And then you do VR, and it is like, holy crap! The graphics on it's really good. It is like very very well played out and stuff. At least from my, I don't know about like the newer versions, but on the PS4 it was really well.
I
It's
know
just is
another one
very
too. VR one
dizzy.
wise is Five Nights at Freddy's. Do not play VR Five Nights at Freddy's. I played it. My buddy let me use his VR to play it, and I almost knocked him out because I
Oh,
got scared and I swung and I almost hit him. And he's like, "Dude, you almost hit me." I'm like, "I'm sorry, I got scared." My first instinct is to swing.
so funny. I accidentally made my friend a target for the Five Nights at Freddy's horror house. So I
Oh,
don't jump scare. And it's not like bragging. I just the military has made me hyper vigilant, so it's like almost impossible to jump scare me. I love going to haunted houses and stuff though. So we went. I had a brand deal to go to Halloween Horror Nights. They wrote the check that they wrote went to the DV shelter, and I went and like filmed content over the weekend. I just haven't posted. Well, I think I posted like one video so far, but we went. And here's the thing: is I don't get jump scared. But the friend I went with is actually my ex girlfriend, and we've been friends for like over 12 years now. And she is very easily scared. So what was happening is we were walking through like the Five Nights at Freddy's, the Terrifier. Like we went through all the different haunted houses, right? We didn't go through the Wyatt Six, the wrestling one, but we went through like all the other ones. And there's also places, if you've seen the videos, where like they have like areas where it's for actors to scare you. And since I don't get jump scared, I was just walking around giving out goodie bags. Like I had these little bags with little animals in them that I passed out, which was really cool. One of the employees posted about it in like an employee chat because I have a friend that works there. They were like, "Are you the one that gave out the goodie bags?" I was like, "Yes." So they would walk up, they try to scare me, and I just like smile at them and give them a goodie bag. But because that they couldn't scare me, they then saw how terrified and easy scared she was and made her a target. So they wouldn't be able to scare me, and then they would go 10 times as hard on her, especially in the Five Nights at Freddy's house. Oh, Lord. She was like trembling against me. So if you want to be scared, they do a really good job. It's just I can't be jump scared just because of, my brain doesn't turn off, right? But it was hilarious. I love the Five Nights at Freddy's. They did really well this year. Like, I've never been to Halloween Horror Nights. I've always wanted to go. But the Five Nights at Freddy's house was really well done. They also had the Fallout house, too, for gaming.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I already told my mom. If I seen a video on Facebook. Someone went to a haunted house and they did the Macarena with the actor, and when the scare actor turned around, they took off. I told my mom, I said, if I go to a haunted house, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing the Macarena, and then I'm taking off when they turn around. You're on your own. Bye.
Just leave. Yeah, I've had a lot of friends who are they can't go to haunted houses because they get too reactive, but then other ones that they love it. Well, we were at the last house. The doll house was the last one that we did because we went based off of like times. I'm gonna do a video on like best times and stuff. And she was like, I don't think my heart can take it anymore. A poor girl, because they're good. They're like the scare actors at Halloween Horror Nights are good.
Yeah, I had one I went to here in Illinois, and I was in line with my cousin and our best friend, and I turned around, and the scare actor was behind me, just like face to face behind me. And I turned around, and he just screamed in my face. I didn't jump, and I just started screaming back at him, and we just had a scream match back and forth. My cousin and my best friend were laughing at me. I was like, well.
I went to one haunted house, one horror. So I did some special effects, makeup and stuff years ago for another theme park that because my late dad and my mom also worked at a theme park doing horror nights and stuff. Well, their version of horror nights. And there's several. I had one year. They couldn't scare me, and they thought it was cool that they couldn't scare me. So they took my hand, and there's like a video of us skipping along. They were like, "Oh, you're coming to murder people with me." I'm like, "Okay, I guess we're going." And like they had a chainsaw. They were going around sneaking around people. Next year we're gonna try to go to Hershey's Park. That's the one with oh gosh, what is her name? She's like the candy. You brought candy for me. You brought treats. The clown.
Oh my gosh, you're going to see her?
Yeah, I can't think of her name. My brain's blanking. I know her name.
I can't think of her name now.
See, we both know it. It's just.
I love her. She's awesome. I want to meet her. Is it the something Farms?
Yeah, it's. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Boppins.
Yeah. It's
a lot of people were confused because her name is also Ribbon on TikTok, and people thought that she was me, and I had to explain no. They also have the other one has, because we're gonna go to like 3 different parks next year. There's also one that has, I think Hershey's is the one that has the sliders. You know, the guys on the knee pads that'll slide up to you to scare you.
Yeah, I know. I've seen those guys too, and I want to go see them so bad. Like, they're so cool.
Yeah, I love Horror Night stuff. I just have a lot of friends that are too afraid to go, and then I kind of feel bad because I know some scare actors get like a little disappointed that I don't jump scare. A lot of them play along; they love it. Like I said, I give them little treats and stuff, because they're like little mystery bags where I accidentally ordered 1,000 instead of 100. Make sure everybody listening remember to read your terms of service, because yeah, that was an accident.
I can imagine when you go see Bobbin, she's gonna be like, treats.
You mean?
Oh my gosh, you're definitely gonna have to send me that when you freaking do, because I would love to hear her say that to you. I
Right.
love her.
I'm hoping I get the main one because they do have different actors that do them, but they all play them really well. Um, oh gosh, there was a question I was going to ask related to the horror. Oh gosh, now my brain blanked out on the horror question. I will say I recommend for everybody listening, if you are wanting to ease into horror stuff and you're, a little bit nervous with haunted houses, I recommend going in September. A lot of them open in September, and they have like lighter days, if that makes sense. I don't recommend that don't scare pass. I feel like, because I saw people getting that for Halloween Horror Nights, and I feel like if you're going to
Go, you want the full experience.
yeah, if you're gonna go, if you're gonna pay all that money, because it does cost a good chunk of change to go, I wouldn't recommend getting the don't scare, because then you're just basically missing out everything. You might as well just go to the park during the day,
Right.
And they do have different levels of stuff. There's a lot of creators who will do videos, and I'm gonna do one like on which one's scarier, which one's like more beginner friendly, what's good to walk through. I do love that they have they had oh gosh, what was it? Like the diner. So they had like the diner that's at Universal, and they had the diner people dressed up as zombies, and they had like little plates, and they would come up and offer you foots and stuff. And we're actually doing zombies this year, because I do a trunk or treat and I do a trick or treat, but we were trying to think of a costume that was cheap and easy to make, because at the domestic violence shelter, buying a Halloween costume, especially in this economy, is the last thing on a victim's mind. But we still wanted the kids to be able to have fun, and I had a sponsorship for a bunch of special effects makeup that I got. So I was like, zombies are perfect because we can cut up some old clothes. We got a bunch of old clothes that are donation that won't fit anybody or they're too worn down. So we're going to put fake blood on them and cut them up, and then we'll do the special effects makeup, and then I'm just going to have a zombie horde of children at the DV shelter.
See, I want to do next year. I'm gonna thrift all stuff for it, but I want to go as one of the nurses from Silent Hill. And
Oh,
I'm
that
gonna
would be
like
amazing.
all the stuff for that because that'd be so cool. I love those movies. Those movies are so freaking awesome. I wish they'd make a new one. Honestly, they got so many games, but they don't have enough movies.
Oh yeah,
to
I saw. Oh my gosh, there were so many pyramid heads at con at SabasiCon, which I have to do a podcast on that. I haven't got to do that because I've missed two Mondays in a row just because of working back-to-back weekends, traveling. My jet lag and stuff was like, no. And then I had surgery today, which I didn't plan. That happened last minute. I literally got a call on my way back from the airport on Monday, and they're like, oh, by the way, because I'd originally been told that was canceled because my insurance wouldn't pay for it because the VA sucks. But apparently my doctor fought for it, and the medical assistants never bothered to call and tell me. So they just scheduled me. And Monday they were like, oh, by the way, you have surgery's Wednesday. I'm like, what? So that's why my brain's a little bit foggy today. I had to write little notes so I don't forget.
Right.
Topics to
My
cover.
mom was asking me where it's at right now so that she can come listen to it.
It doesn't. There's not a live stream for it.
Okay. So I'll just do the thing afterwards. So she
Yeah,
can listen.
it'll. What I'll do is after we record, I will add the intro, and this is good to know for anybody who wants to come on the podcast. So I add the intro afterwards because I just record that separately. There's the quick intro that I do everything with the disclaimer and stuff. And then I add the conversation, and then I add the outro, thanking everybody for listening, and then I upload it, and Podbean will distribute it, which can take about an hour for most stuff, but like I said, YouTube takes about an extra 15 minutes. And just a reminder for everybody that wants to do an interview, I do them on Thursdays with regular people so they can share their experiences. And I always put the bio in there. And as I discussed with you, the only thing I don't allow is politics on here because I want everybody to have a break from the chaos in the world, and not, have to focus on that. Especially because a lot of people like to listen. I've had a lot of people say they like to listen on their way from work or their way back to work. And you don't want to have a long day at work or like be going to work and just that's all you're fucking thinking about is the chaos and like horrific shit that's going on in the world.
Yeah. I don't do politics. I'm neutral party. Do I agree with what's happening in the world? No, but I'm not a person.
I've discussed my political views on TikTok, but I don't regularly because there's enough people who do political commentary on TikTok, and I don't want to be I want my page to be somewhere for people to have a break, and just
Right.
listen to the plob stories, experiences, fandom space, military, ER, that kind of stuff. Um, oh, speaking of online culture, uh, has being trans has online culture affected your views on fandom or anything like that? Have you been able to find safe spaces, things like that?
Yes and no. There's a lot of places that are accepting friends, but like TikTok is not the best place for posting being a trans person because a lot of people do comment on your videos and they're hateful, they're mean, like it's horrible. Dating is even worse because
I actually had that the chaser question written down too because I've had experiences with that too. With chasers, people find out that I'm intersex and or they I've had people get confused. So I grow out my hair, donate it, cut it off. Growing out my hair, donate it, cut it off.
right.
I have a process. And because I bind my chest and everything, I have had people think that I am male to female trans. Like they get confused. They think because of the short hair and everything. And I have even had like people say stuff to me in public, and I'm like, what? They'll like make comments about cutting off my dick, and I'm like, you mean the silicone one? I mean, I can just detach it, buddy. Is that what you're like? And I've had a lot of people, they see that and they think, because intersex is a spectrum. So
Right.
I don't have like a pseudo penis or whatever you want to call it on the outside, not to TMI, but like I don't have that. But a lot of people think, because intersex, they think that I do, and I will have guys DM me and be very fucking weird. Very fucking weird.
I've had so many questions asked of me, and I'm just like, yeah, no, we're done with these questions. You can get out of my inbox now. I'm done talking to you.
I think it's so weird. Like, and I understand that there's, because like I've covered Andrew's side. Well, that's another thing is I did the interview with Andrew, which before people are confused, Andrew has came forward. If you missed that, after people were like saying that he wasn't a real person and stuff, he did come forward about his experience with Latino, and people will use that to be like, oh, that means the Latino's not trans, when the whole thing was to hold the Latino accountable for the bad actions, because the Latino has done the same stuff that they want everybody else to be held accountable for, but then doesn't want to take accountability. And then you get the side of things, and I've talked about this before, you get two sides of the same coin. You'll have some people screaming, oh, that they're not trans because they did something bad. I'm like, that has nothing to do with it. But then you get the other side that's like, oh, you're attacking a trans woman by calling them out for bad behavior. And I'm like, once again, it has nothing to do with them being trans. It's just bad behavior.
Like, they're just a person in general. It has nothing to do with if you're male, if you're female, if you're
shitty people are just shitty people.
Yeah, she's shitty. Like, I don't like her, but yeah.
And I think that's why it's so hard to hold accountability too, is because you have the one side that's like, oh, well, that's proof she's not trans if she's a shitty person. It's like, no, trans people can be shitty too. Like, but then the other side of the argument is, people, and it also implies that if you're trans, you can't possibly ever do anything bad. If you're like, oh, well, they're not bad because they're trans. And no, they're a shitty person. Like, shitty people do shitty things. But then it also caused a lot of backlash. Like, oh gosh, I can't think of her name. That one, she is beautiful. Oh my gosh. She's got the blonde hair. She's like a supermodel and stuff. She's a trans woman, and she talks about like her experience of like people like that cause the online space to be. A lot of people assume that everybody's like Latino, which is why I wanted to make sure I did an interview too with somebody eventually that was a trans woman to show it's not every single person is like Latino, not every single person's like Christian, but that
there's another one. Her name I think is like Mariah. She's bald and she has like tattoos on her head. She's also
I can't remember. Well, I know we also covered the trans mask who was. Oh gosh, we just covered her recently. She's got like 50, or sorry, or they? I'm not, to be honest, I'm really confused because they use different pronouns in different videos. So, but they said they're part of the trans community. They're the one that was a pedophile, was like admitting to being a pedophile and was trying to say, oh, kids should be able to do stuff at all ages and all that stuff. No, and yeah, that nasty ass shit. And that's what.
The legal age of consent is 16, but if you're over the age of 18 and you're doing something with someone that's 16, you are
exactly.
under the period.
That's what it's called. they call them legal pedophiles. It's pedophiles that will purposely date somebody that's right on the borderline to try to get away with it. But that's the representation a lot of the trans community gets, because that 1% is blown up, and then you don't hear stories from, the other 99% that are normal and not, acting like that.
I had a kid that he added me on Snapchat, and I was like, okay, what do you look like? And I was like, okay, you're cute. I was like, what's your age? He's like 17. I'm like, no, we can be friends, but until you're 18, there is nothing going on between me and you, because I'm not getting in trouble because you're 17. You're a minor. I'm an adult. No, I'm 26. Not happening.
I've had like 18 and 19-year-olds hit on me, and I'm like, dude, I'm old enough to be your mother. And it's because of Young Gravy. And it's not to like bash Young Gravy, but he did that whole campaign. I don't know if you remember, he did this whole MILF campaign, right? Where that was his whole PR stunt with MILFs. And then a lot of people got mad because he obviously didn't end up with a MILF. But that's how a lot of these PR stunts go. I do like Young Gravy's music, but a lot of people don't understand that a lot of male rappers and stuff will do these PR stunts, male creators, like, oh, I'm into plus size women, oh, I'm into older women. They're not actually. They will always end up with somebody their age who's traditionally attractive. That's how it always works. But they do the PR stunts, and because of that, there was a lot of like younger guys who were like, oh, I really want to be with a MILF now because the Young Gravy made it cool. And I had a group of like 18, 19-year-olds that would not stop hitting on me at the gym. And I'm like, dude, I'm old enough to be your mom. I started puberty at 9, so biologically, I could be the 18-year-old's mother.
And I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry you had to deal with that, because I had to been very, very uncomfortable.
It's so awkward. And they're like, oh, and they'll say weird stuff, but they'll be like, oh, but I'm mature for my age. No.
Incorrect.
No, clearly not. And I've talked about female predators before, too, because that's a topic that a lot of people don't like to discuss, because, yeah, there's female predators also. A lot. It's just the way female predators go about things is why they're not as caught as much. There's been studies on this. A lot of women go for relationships and stuff like that. So they're not, a lot of the male predators are looking for hookups and sex. That's why they're able to be caught by things like Chris Hansen, which I love Chris Hansen.
Yeah.
But then you have female predators, they're working on a relationship, so you have to actually stick around for a while, and it takes it. That's why you see the student-teacher bullshit.
And they're also very good at, like, and this isn't aimed at women in general, but female predators are good at manipulating, too. They're very good at
and it's also normalized. Sadly, it is really normalized. We just had a movie come out. Oh, gosh, what was that name? There's a movie that came out talking about that one female predator. Her name's Mary. And she had a baby with her, like, her elementary school student. And then she got out of jail. This happened back in, like, the 80s, I believe. She got out of prison after only, like, 15 months or something. And then immediately broke the no contact and had another baby with him. And then they were married for, like, 20 years. They didn't divorce until, like, 2018. And they did a documentary on it, and they also have a movie based off of it. And it shows like how normal, because you would never see, they would not be making a movie if it had been a man and a little girl.
No, they wouldn't. It's horrible. It's so wrong when it's a man and a little girl, but when it's a woman and a little boy,
exactly. And that's kind of like what I talked about with the Lily Tino stuff. Is a bad person is a bad person. It has nothing to do with gender or sexuality or anything. It's just bad people are bad people. Right. And there's a lot of people, though, if it's a female, they give a pass. And it's like, no, it's not. Female predators are still predators.
No, it doesn't mean you get a pass. You're just as horrible as the males. You should just get the same punishment as a male.
Exactly. But we normalize it. Even in, like, media, I did a video talking about this. And I've noticed if I talk about male predators, they blow up. The videos blow up. But then if I talk about female predators, I get, like, under 1,000 views. It's ridiculous. But, with the females I talked about, there's 2 episodes of, there's 2 different shows that come to mind, which is the George Lopez show and Shameless. They both did episodes where a predator moves into the neighborhood, and the whole neighborhood watch gets together, and they're, like, ready to beat this guy's ass and scare him out of the neighborhood, right? And then they show up, and it's a female, and they're like, oh, never mind, welcome to the neighborhood. And it's like, what the fuck? No. And, like, there's always that one female character, like it was like Angie, the wife, and I think it was, I can't remember who it was in the Shameless episode, but like a female being like, hey, so I think it was Fiona being like, hey, so just because she's a female does not make this, or no, it wasn't Fiona, it was Lip and Shameless, who was like, hey, so just because she's a female doesn't change the fact that she's a predator. Why are we all backing down and allowing her into the neighborhood?
Right.
Like, it's so crazy because I see news stories all the time of people who will, female predators that get caught with boys my friend's son's age, because my friend has teenagers, and I'm like, that is so. I actually had a mutual somebody once over it. She had asked what I was doing, and I said, oh, my friend's son is mowing the lawn for me because of my spinal issue. I can't.
Right.
And she was like, oh, I love watching. Oh, is he shirtless? I love watching. And I'm like, he's 14, you fucking sicko. And she's like, oh yeah, but teenage boys love older women. I ended up mutually and blocking her. I was like, that's disgusting. That's
or like
disgusting.
people make like Facebook groups for predators. Like for instance, I'm gonna call her out, and if she hears this, I don't care. My cousin Brianna, I'll say her name because I do not like her, made a Facebook post. She made a Facebook group. She added me into it, and someone that's my best friend. I will stand by this man, and anyone that hears it that doesn't want to be friends with me because I stand by him, I don't care. I can say it right here and now. Fuck you. This man, what they got him for, he did not do. His um, lawyer didn't even try and help him out. His lawyer pretty much screwed him. But she made a Facebook group. She added me in it, and she posted his mugshot and his thing from when he got arrested and went to jail. And I was like, that's not okay. Why is it only men that get their things posted on Facebook about being a predator, but it's not women? Never women. It's only men that I ever see posted on
For
Facebook.
those who weren't around a couple years ago, I got quote unquote canceled for calling out a female predator. I had posted she had assaulted 3 different men. There was pictures. Also, people wanted to watch the video of the assault. That was insane because you would never do that with a. And then they were like, "Oh, well, it didn't happen because you're refusing to post the victim was refusing to post the video of the assault," which is insane because you would never ask a female to be like, you never ask a woman to post a video of her assault. That's insane, right? And they're like, "Oh, well, it's not real." And the crazy thing is, there was a woman who was coming out about being assaulted at the same event, and nobody was questioning her. Everybody flooded her with love. It actually ended up with one ended up having to be in the psych ward. Another one ended up taking his life over this, sadly, over the assault. And no, there was no sympathy for them. It was just people mocking. People were calling me and him a liar, and the other 2 victims a liar. They scared one of them off the internet. She ended up getting arrested eventually for something else. And when I posted her mugshot, people were like, "Oh, you're doxing her. That's horrible, blah, blah." And I'm like, I'm warning people about a female predator that you guys keep insisting doesn't fucking exist. Because it turns out she was friends with like 4 large creators. So I was like, why the fuck is suddenly these large creators coming for me for calling out a female predator? It turns out they're friends with her. And I'm like, of course you are. And of course, a lot of people care more about following count than somebody being a predator. Heck, there's 2 plobs that I've had that have made up shit about me because I've called out their boyfriends, showing that they're both dating registered sex offenders. And because they're like, oh, but that's fine. That's fine. No, it's not. No, it's not. A registered sex offender is a registered sex offender.
I'll get very personal with you since we're on this conversation of sex offenders. So I do have a story, and I really don't hope that this changes my opinion, your opinion of me, and anyone else that hears this. I really don't care what your opinion is of me. When I was 18, a kid that I was friends with, I was a senior in high school, mind you. This kid I was friends with was 16. We went to school together. This kid sent me a picture of his genitals without me asking. A friend of mine who was also 16 convinced me to mess with this kid, tell him, like we were going to spread his nudes if he didn't do, yada yada. And we told this kid nothing was going to happen. And mind you, at this time, I was living with my aunt. She worked in a whole different town. I watched her 2 and 4-year-old sons, and I was responsible for them. This kid then, after we told him nothing was going to happen, came to my house and was threatening me and those 2 little boys. So I got upset and like a dumb, kid. I mean, yes, I understand. I was an adult. I take full blame. I put it on my Snapchat, but I took it back down as soon as I put it up because I was like, what am I doing? I'm going to get in trouble. Another friend of mine doesn't like the kid. She screenshotted it and spread it around it. I got in trouble for everything because I was the adult in the situation, and the girl that actually spread the picture didn't get in trouble for spreading it. I got all the blame and everything.
And that's something I think the law needs to catch up on is, so we have
Right.
Romeo and Juliet for people who are like 18 and 16 because, like you said earlier, if you're 18 and 16, that's one thing, but once you're like 21 and stuff, that's, no, you shouldn't be messing with
Yeah.
anybody under 18.
And like I said, I didn't ask him for that picture. He sent it to me on his free will. So like it, and my
But
family said that it's messed up.
there's a lot of what's sad is there's a lot of teenagers that will either face too harsh of repercussions because they're young and stupid. Like there's girls who have taken nudes for their boyfriend and then they get arrested because they're 17, and it's like they're sending it to another 17-year-old and the law doesn't understand, which no child under 18 should be sending nudes. But unfortunately,
Right.
back then, you know, people were still discovering technology. I'll admit, when I was a teenager, I sent nudes to my boyfriend who was also a teenager and stuff. You know, I've had girlfriends when I was a teenager. You know, we'd both be like 16, 17 sending, yeah. But the law says that then the teenager gets in trouble, and it's like, wait, what? But then on the other end, then sometimes they'll be like, oh, there's no repercussions at all, and then they keep
Right.
doing it because they think, okay, well, I didn't face any repercussions, so I can keep doing that, and it's okay, and it's not.
See, in my case, I feel like the law should have. I shouldn't have gotten in trouble because I wasn't the one that sent the picture around. I was the one that the picture was sent to. So therefore, like
And I understand facing repercussions because you posted it on Snapchat in the first place, but if you weren't the one to distribute it, shouldn't have been facing issues for distributing it. That should have been the person to distribute it.
yeah,
That makes
because
sense. Like, I definitely, just to be honest, I don't think you should get off scot-free for posting it in the first place, but there should have been repercussions for the person who distributed it too.
right, and there was. I mean, I did get in trouble for posting it. I went to prison, and you know, I do have to register for the rest of my life, and I regret everything that I did. But like, and it also blows my mind that the law put something like that, which is a whole different situation, grouped in with people that actually do touch children. Like, how does that make any sense? I didn't touch anyone. I didn't do anything of that sort. There was nothing sexual happening. So, like, how does it fall under the same class, you know, as, like...
It's like the people that pee in parks, and I'm like somebody who pees in a park at 2 a.m. when nobody's around. And I think there should be lists, like, classification. And if you get put on the list for touching a child, you should just be put down, like an animal, because that's what you are if you're touching children.
Yep. You know what saying I say? If you touch a child, you need to have your dick nailed to a stump with a rusty nail and hit with a hand and push off backwards, because it's disgusting. It's deplorable. It's not okay. You take away that child. You take away their childhood. You traumatize them for the rest of their life.
It's like we put animals down if they bite a child for traumatizing them.
Right.
Why the fuck are we not doing that with humans?
Because the law doesn't see it that way. The law is so screwed up. It's horrible.
Well, I just recently found out because I'd seen a video of a predator who was saying, oh, any man, if you put him on an island with a beautiful 14-year-old or whatever, and what's funny is my husband overheard that, and he was like, well, I guess I'm not a man anymore because I sure as fuck wouldn't do that. But he found out that guy had actually got arrested. He had been involved with the FBI. I was talking to somebody who did a predator takedown, and they ended up finding out that he got off the registry after 10 years because in the state of Oregon, you can apply to become off the registry, which is bullshit. You should be on that for life, or if you're touching children. Like, he had been involved with several, like, young girls. And they were like, oh, it's been 10 years, so even though you fucked little girls, you sick piece of shit, you get to be off the registry. And it's like,
See,
what the fuck sense does that make?
Like, even for mine, which was nothing of that sort, I have to register for the rest of... Like, I cannot get off that registry.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on in Oregon that they're like, oh, yeah, you fucked little girls, that's fine, you can just get off it and continue. No, that should be a lifelong thing.
Again. He's going to do it again, then he's going to get put back on the registry.
Oh, yeah, he's back in prison. He is right back in prison because, yeah, he did exactly that. He started getting they had to get the FBI involved and found out, yeah, he was doing all kinds of stuff again. It's disgusting.
I wouldn't be surprised if in 10 years again he does the same thing again.
Unfortunately, when he gets out, he'll probably do repeat the same cycle. and wait till he's off of it, and then that's how he got away with targeting people again, because he got off the registry and then retargeted people. But like I said, people that do things like piss in parks, or I knew somebody who had a 16-year-old boyfriend that they had been with for like 3 years, and when they turned 18, the parents then tried to claim it was like statutory, because in that state it was different. And I'm like, they were together. Why was it fine until they turned 18? Like, once again, if you're 21 something, you should not. If you're over 18 and you're not like already prior in a relationship or something, you should not be going after teenagers. But if it's somebody that's 15 and 16 and 15 and 17, that kind of stuff,
then it shouldn't be a problem, because it's technically under Romeo and Juliet law, because they were and you literally when they were dating.
Once again, you see these girls, these young girls who don't know any better, and they a lot of times get pressured into taking pictures or whatever of themselves, and then they're 16, 17 years old. Once again, they should not be doing that, but with technology, we know how teenagers are nowadays, and parents don't pay attention, because that's a big problem. Like, my kids, are not old enough for technology, but when they are on like their learning tablets, because the school has like learning programs, I stalk the fuck out of that shit. I'm looking at every single thing they do. I watch every single video they watch before they watch it. But there's a lot of parents that don't. And then, though, I've seen videos where cops will show up to a parent's house and they're like, "Are you aware your child was sending child porn?" And they're like, "What?" And it's their 16-year-old took a picture of themselves for their boyfriend that pressured them into it. And now the 16-year-old girl who took a picture of herself is now getting arrested. And it's like, that's a child. That's a victim themselves. And you're pressing charges against them. But then you're letting actual pedophiles off. Like, make it make sense.
Right. Like me, for instance, I, like I said, people who touch children, they shouldn't be allowed to get off the registry. But someone like with my circumstances, I feel like I shouldn't have to register for the rest of my life, because if I got off the registry, I'm not going to go do it again. I learned my lesson. I don't want to go back in prison and do all that again. Like,
you were also 18 with a 16-year-old.
And I'd never been in trouble. I had never been to court. I never had anything of that sort. So I was just scared. I was scared, and I just took the first deal that they threw at me, because I didn't know what to do, because I was terrified.
Since we're almost at 40 minutes, I do want to go over a couple more questions before we hit the 45 mark, because that's where I usually do the outro. I did want to ask to just troll back to the chasers, if you had any advice for any people who are getting into the dating world and wanting to look away from chasers. I try to give some sort of dating advice to people based off of it, because everybody's experience is different. You never know who has tips that might help. Have you had any... Do you have any recommendations? Any apps you prefer? Any apps you tell people to avoid?
Do not get. I'm gonna tell you now, as a trans person, do not get on Grindr. Do not get on Hilly, Tammy. Those are big.
I've covered Tammy before. Oh my god. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen my video, but we had a friend who we were trying to catch her cheating boyfriend. He was a chaser. Turns out he was dating a woman, like a cis woman, and then was trying to chase on the side. And I joined it. I joined Tammy, and Tammy allows you to message people without matching. Within 48 hours, I had over 1,000 messages. I live streamed that shit, and they were bad. There's
literally a guy that added me on Snapchat, asked me to message his girlfriend because she needed more friends, and then he asked me to find out if she would cheat on him with me. And she was flirting with me and wanting to do stuff with me, and he was too. And I'm like, what is this mess? What? This is wild. That is that is chaser. Both of them are chasers. That is crazy.
There's a lot of there's also a lot of I don't even know how to describe it. People that, so they don't read your bio. I put in my bio stuff, right? And they wouldn't read it, and I shit you not, I had a few crazy ass opening messages. One of them, a guy sent me a message, and his opening message was, "Hey, will you come fuck me and my dad in our guest room while my mom's cooking Christmas dinner, because we're gonna have a bunch of people over for Christmas dinner, and we don't want my mom to find out, so we want to take turns fucking you in the guest room."
Oh
what?
My God!
That was the opening message.
That is rancid.
Another opening message I had, a few messages up, was, it said, hey, do you do meth? Because I really like it when chicks do meth, and I'll even buy it for you. I just think it's fun to have sex on meth. And I'm like, bitch,
I
what?
had, I had a guy message me, right, and was talking about he wanted to do coke off of my dick before he sucked my dick, and I'm like, what? Hold on, huh? That's kind of wild. No, not happening.
What the fuck? Yeah, people are these are opening messages too. These aren't even like. It reminds me of that Family Guy clip on TikTok where he's like, where Quagmire says, "Do you ever accidentally masturbate to photos of your young mom or whatever?" And
Oh,
Peter's
no.
like, "I just sat down." Who starts a conversation like that?
But if you want my advice, anyone that is trans and you're in the dating scene, as soon as they start asking about, like, do you have boobs? What's between your legs? Like, stuff like that, that's your red flag right there. Cut it, because that's them chasing you because they know you're trans and they want to know what you have. And it's going to progress to something sexual. And if you don't want that, just cut it
Yeah,
off.
exactly. And I've talked about this before. There is a line where there's a difference in needing to disclose and not needing to disclose. For example, if you're just having a conversation, not every single person you meet needs to be in your pants. But if somebody's going to be touching what's in your pants, that's when you need to disclose. Hey, because you don't want to put your hand down there expecting a joystick and you touch a touchpad or vice versa.
Yeah. See,
But the random strangers that are like, "Hey, what's in your pants?" That's fucking weird to ask people. That is so weird to ask people.
Whenever I get on a dating app, I always put in my bio that I'm trans. And when we start talking, even if there's going to be friends, still, it's a dating app. I always disclose that I'm trans just because I don't want them to be like, later on in the conversation, even if it starts out as friends, and then it turns to something sexual on their end, and then get mad at me because I didn't disclose that I tell them.
And there's
hey,
a difference in disclosing you're trans and disclosing what's in your pants. That's where because I will have strangers ask my friends, "Oh, have you had the surgery or something?" I saw a video of this oh gosh, I can't think of her name. She's really popular on TikTok. She did a video where apparently she transitioned at like 8 or 9. I can't remember, but she transitioned really young. And she talked about how people would ask if she had the surgery at like 12, which you can't even get the surgery at 12.
Are you talking about Jazz, maybe?
No. This is another girl.
I know Jazz did too when she was younger.
Yeah, she had the one thing when she was she had a lot of people asking. And I think it's so weird to ask a child what's in their pants on top of an adult's already weird enough, but to walk up to a kid and be like, "Hey, do you got a dick or not?" Like, what the fuck?
That's predator behavior right there.
Exactly.
Off the bat.
You shouldn't. Or there was another. Yeah, she had another guy who like duetted her, talking about eating her ass, and she was like 16, and she had to duet it and be like, "Hey, so I'm 16. What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Yeah, that's a little.
Once again, the pedophile stuff is insane. Is there anything else you wanted to share before we end the podcast?
I'm just saying, go into the world being a kind-hearted person. Don't ever just put someone down because they're different. Kindness comes back to you. Karma's a bitch. Just live your life with kindness and joy in your heart. Don't ever let someone bring down who you are because you're different. Just be you. Who cares? Like, it's your life.
Yeah, I've talked about there's a difference in being cringy and being a creep. There's a line there. And once again, a bad person is a bad person. It doesn't matter their gender or sexuality. Shitty people are just shitty people. Like there's plenty of people that are shitty in every single fandom space, every single minority group, major group. The fact that people will be like, "Oh, because they're part of that minority group, they must be a bad person." No, it's not. It's just shitty people being shitty people. And that's unfortunately what a lot of people will base stuff off of. Like, they'll see that one shitty person and assume that's...
And they assume everyone's going to be shitty. That's not the case. Like, for me, I am like the sweetest person you can meet. I open doors for people. If someone needs a seat, I'll give them my seat. Like, if they need something, I'll, like, give them what I have.
You're not screaming at the cashier in the middle of Walmart for accidentally misgendering you.
No.
That's the thing that blows my mind is, like, if somebody misgenders me, I'm just like, hey, if it's just Walmart, I don't care. But, like, if it's there's a difference in somebody doing it on purpose and somebody doing it accidentally.
Like, when I used to work at Casey's. When I'd be on the cash register and someone would call me sir, I was just like, it's ma'am, and they're just like, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. Thank you. Have a good day. I'm like, thank you for saying ma'am instead of sir. Like, I'm not rude about it. I'm respectful about it. There's a
Yeah.
difference between
And
being rude.
that's another
And
thing with like the people, like I said, like Lily Tino and the other ones that will
English
lash out at people, and then people are scared. They'll be like, "Oh God, if I meet a trans person and accidentally misgender them, they're gonna scream at me and try to get me fired." And that's
no,
just not the case. That is like such a 1% thing.
she does it to rage bait people.
Exactly, it's rage bait.
Not everybody that's trans, and I will put this out there to anyone that's listening that's not in the community. Not all trans people are going to yell at you or treat you shittily because you misgender them. They're just simply going to say, "Hey, I go by she, her, or he, him, or they, them, or they, them." We're not all like Lily Tino. She's despicable. She's disgusting. We're not her. So don't
Exactly.
ever look with her because we're not.
And that's like I said, the problem is a lot of people see just that 1% if they're not in a community, and it's like I've talked about this before. When I was a waitress, there was or server, sorry, because they call them servers at Olive Garden. My training manager had explained, he's like, one, it takes 10 good reviews to counteract one bad review, because if you go out to eat and you have one bad interaction, you're rushing to tell your friends. But if you go out to eat and you have a good interaction, you're not rushing to tell your friends like every single time you have a good interaction at a restaurant. But if you have a bad one, you're fucking running to tell TikTok, Facebook, everybody, like, hey, this was shit. So a lot of people see that bad a lot more than they see the good.
Yeah, like I've had bad interactions. Don't get me wrong. When I started at Casey's, it was like my first week. I accidentally messed up this lady's pump because she prepaid inside, and I messed up what pump I sent it to, and she came in and started screaming at me. Another customer defended me, and they got into it. And I went outside and I started bawling my eyes out. Like it. Sometimes it can be overwhelming being in the food industry because people can be shitty, like very
Oh yeah,
shitty.
if I ever had to go back to something like that, I would. You could not pay me to go back to fast food.
Mm-mm. Nope. Nope.
I could do like dine in, like server or something, or retail or something again, but I could never go back to fast food. I've talked
That's
about it
what
before.
that
It's so
job
bad.
I went to today for work was Tractor Supply Company, and it's retail, and I'm hoping I get it because that seemed like a great job.
Yeah,
And
retail sucks
I,
too. I will admit retail has its own downfalls, but it's a hell of a lot better than fast food.
if I get this job, my favorite parts from what they told me is they get baby chicks and stuff in there from like spring to fall, and I was like,
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
I'm so
I want chickens again so bad.
I want one. My mom keeps telling me no because I keep going to like we have a Buckeyes here, and I keep going into Buckeyes. I'm like, Mom, I want one. She's like, No, you can't have a chicken. No. I'm like, But Mom, chicken.
I want a Highland cow too, but I have to get land
I'm
for
gonna go
that. Because you
to
can't have Highland cows. There's Highland cows in Texas all over. People sell them. I grew up spending my summers on the farm, so I want a Highland cow. I want chickens again, but we have to wait till we have space for them.
See, I had the only exotic type creature I had. I had a Mexican fire leg tarantula, and I named her Ruby. She was the sweetest girl. I loved her so much. She'd let me pick her up and hold her. She'd climb up my arm, climb up my face, into my hair. She'd sit on top of my head. I loved her. She was the best.
Okay. We are towards the end of the time, so I am gonna go ahead and stop the recording here in a second. And I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank you again for
Yep.
joining. Like I said, I wanted to do an interview that showed that not all trans people are plobs and act like Lily Tino.
Right.
There are plenty of normal people.
Right.
And I'm gonna go ahead and end the recording. I'll add the outro, so I'll see the listeners in about 3 seconds.